Hello everybody, welcome back to this Motorsport Managed career. We are champions, we achieved that in the last race, but anyway, we do still have the last race of the season to get through. It is our home Grand Prix, we head into it as champions. I don't think we're going to get a result here. Our car has slipped back in the development race. We'll jump straight into that, into the car development screen. As you can see, our car at the moment is the 9th best overall. Obviously, if you watch the last few videos, we went for the engine. We've gone for a new engine. It is built. We're not going to put it in the car this year. It is next year's engine, theoretically. So that is going to be the nice brand spanking new engine that we're going to have in the car next year. It's not a massive leap forward. As we can see, it gets us to about average. It does say 12th best overall there. That is because we don't have it in the car. But it was only a 54-point jump. So if we do put that in the car, as if the car would sit for next year, that actually does put us 11th overall. We're between the Red Bull Honda engine and the customer Honda engine. So we're pretty close to the Red Bull. I mean, we're actually really close to everyone. The engines are just so close together. We're not that far behind, but we are still the worst overall works engine. But anyway, I do need to take that out of Vettel's car because that is going to be the base point for next season. It is not ready to go into the car this year, but we are 9th overall for this race. I mean, Germany, gearbox, front wing, suspension heavy. I mean, the gearbox isn't there, the front wing's there, the suspension's there, so we might still be pretty decent for this race. But anyway, we'll get into Fuzzy Snowbox. We'll go down the couple of upgrades that the cars have done. Williams and McLaren have both got new gearboxes, which will serve them really well for this race. Obviously, Munich is a gearbox heavy track. They now have the best gearboxes in the game. Meanwhile, Aston Martin, Haas and Prema have gone for brakes. That's not too important for this one. But anyway, where does that move Aston Martin up to 3rd overall? Haas still down there, and Prema still down there as well. And then the other new upgrades are new rear wings going onto the Alfa Romeo, which puts them top there. Alfa Romeo, a really good new rear wing going onto that, and Renault as well, which only sees them up into 7th. So other than us dropping down, McLaren now do have the best car in this game. I mean, I think Williams is a little more suited to this track and with the same engine, so Williams possibly would be ahead here, but Williams 5th best overall. Mercedes behind 2 of their customer teams. Alfa Romeo has jumped right back up to the top of the grid, as in having the best car overall, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I mean, wow, we're lagging behind here. I mean, we're champions, but we now have the 9th best overall car of the season off the grid. I mean, that is quite a drop with the upgrades that these other teams have done heading into this race, and means we might be in for a bit of a struggle once we start next season. Although I think that is down to the engine. If we put this new engine into Vettel's car, I think that would put us, it does put us 4th overall, but obviously we know that is really shaky if we don't get up to speed on the developments next season. I mean, we were really strong in the middle of the season with the development game, which gave us a really strong end to the season, with Vettel picking up podiums for 5 races in a row. That is 5 races in a row. Gasly got 3 and was there or thereabouts. We had a really strong end to the season. Luckily, no one managed to catch up to us or get into this point that we're at now before this point. Otherwise, it might have been a little bit closer and we might not have won the title at all. But it's going to be a rainy race here at Munich. I mean, it's going to be a totally wet weekend. We've got heavy rain, heavy rain, heavy rain. So we know we might even be out in qualifying, because we do like to run qualifying as the AI does. I mean, they're not the best in the rain through practice and qualifying. They're pretty decent during the race, but we'll take it because we don't know what this rain might be. It might just be heavy rain for 1 or 2 laps, so we'll just take the usual compliment, and everyone's unhappy with the car. I mean, Vettel is absolutely irate with the state of the car at the moment. But anyway, we can't do anything about that, so we're going to jump into practice, which we'll skip over, and we'll be back in a second to see how this rain does indeed affect qualifying here. Hopefully not too much, but maybe, hopefully. It's the last race, not much to go for, so anyway, we'll be back in just a second. So practice is over. We were quickest in practice. Pretty much comes down to that we were the first car out on track on practice whilst it was at its driest. It was fully wet for the rest of practice, so none of this really makes any sense. We only managed to get 1 lap in on a wettish track, which is where the dry tyre comes in for. I don't know what the weather's going to be like for this session. It is said to be heavy rain, so I'm thinking we're going to take the wet tyres just as a precaution, because we're not going to be looking at the weather radar. We got there pretty much with this setup in the end. Luckily, we got straight there with the setup, because I don't think I've actually run this track before, because it wasn't in my setups. But anyway, I'm going to actually save that, because I don't actually have this setup done, because I think this is the first time I've run this variation of the track. I don't seem to have gone through it much before. And I did add it in this season because the old Germany track did get removed through a vote last season, which is why we've got this one at the end of the season. It's the only way I could add a German Grand Prix back. We're going to start on the softs because it looks like it's going to be dry to start the Grand Prix, and as you can see, we did so much running on the wet tyres, we only got one lap in on the dry tyre. But we're going to take the dry. There is heavy rain forecast for some point, but we've just got to run this as we normally would, because that is just what the AI does. They run as they normally would, and hopefully we're not going to get caught out by the rain, at least here in Q1. That would be a disaster. There's no rain yet, so it looks like we're going to get a dry lap in over the first lap. Is there any indication in the sky of what's going to happen? It looks pretty clear all around. It's not getting any darker, so it looks like we're going to get a dry lap in here. There is heavy rain forecast for some point in this session, but when is it going to drop? We do get dry laps in here. Gasly and Vettel a long way behind Verstappen. Are we quick enough to be in the top 15? Vettel is a little bit off the pace. Gasly a little bit quicker than his team, but still only 9th. But anyway, we're going to have to try get out here, because there is the track grip is coming in. The weather has changed. It's got a little bit more cloudy. It's a little bit too early just yet from where we would go. We would usually go with about 3:30 left. And there we go with the rain. We're not even going to bother running. We're not even going to bother run in the rain. We just see what everyone does. I don't think anyone's going to go any quicker here. Newgarden is a little bit quicker. And look at that. We've got heavy rain right at the end of the session. Look, full on wet track. So absolutely no one is going to go quicker here. Luckily, our first lap was good enough. McLaren, with those upgrades even, we thought they would get through. McLaren just absolutely out of it still. McLaren are not performing at all. I mean, both drivers are unhappy there. They're both saying they're considering their options. So they're possibly going to leave. Usually it's just down to me moving, because everyone's got pretty long contracts, so I can control the moves. But if they're unhappy, they will force a move themselves. So we might see a change at McLaren next season, because I'm guessing both those guys are considering their options, because it's been an absolutely horrendous season for McLaren. Last season we opened up to a fan vote, which got McLaren a big boost. I mean, they've got, like, they have the best car on track. It's just not working out for them. But anyway, we've got dry conditions to start this round of qualifying. And actually, just because of this lap, we'll just have a look at it here. As we come to the end of this, like, straight here, I mean, oh, we got rain. If we just stop here, look, you'd think we go, so it's not actually barricaded off. We actually just cross the line and take that right-hander. I mean, it's barricaded off further up the road. I mean, the road just continues straight on. But anyway, we'll get in. I mean, this might be a decent-ish lap, since we were like the first out on track before the rain actually got in. No, it's not, is it? Because the rain is fully on. We were on our out lap. The rain's going to die off, is it? No, the rain's dying off. So does that mean the rain's going to come back? And as Gasly locks up, does that mean the rain's going to come back at the end of the session like it usually does? Vettel locks up on that corner as well. So is this going to be like Belgium? We've got a corner where most cars are locking up. Lewis Hamilton locking up around that corner. Everyone's struggling with that final corner here in Germany, but we are way off the pace. Some cars managed to get out on the inters, whereas we didn't. The rain is stopping. Is it going to start again? Should we risk running on the inters? I'm not going to look at that. It's taking a while for the... And we've got rain coming back, haven't we? But we're still going to go at our same time. Is this rain going to get too heavy for us to run? No, the rain is stopping. Oh, what is the best tyre to go on here? I mean, the rain's stopping. We're going to go. We're going to risk it. Should we split it for both cars? I mean, we've got a little bit of time to look at it with Vettel. No, it looks like it's going... Looks like it's going down here. So we're going to get out on the soft. Hopefully this isn't a mistake and it's just a blip with the rain stopping. No, it looks like the rain is just going to stop totally here. No, it's coming back. Oh my god, the rain just come back. Just came back totally there. Totally. That was tricking me totally then. We would have been on the inters. I don't think even they would have been quick enough. Although there is a lot of cars like us that were caught out, like Vips and Bottas. But we've got the two. It's two Mercedes and a Ferrari going out with us. So the top of the order is a little bit of a shake-up, isn't it? We've got the Williams up there. We know they're going to be really strong this weekend. Can Williams grab a win here with the other main cars out of the order here, other than Charles Leclerc? Leclerc's out. Oh no, we get Mercedes. Both Mercedes get in there. Hamilton's out in... It pushes Vips out. Hamilton's out in the Ferrari. Hasn't been a good season for Hamilton here. But anyway, we'll get in. We'll watch the last qualifying session here. Ricciardo maybe favourite for a pole here. Leclerc, we can actually look at the weather this time around, and it's going to do about the same as it did in the last one, isn't it? So who should we watch on the first lap? We'll try watch Ricciardo. He's on his out lap at the moment. I mean, he's going to be out whilst it's fully rainy on his, whereas a lot of these other cars that are out on the Inters are going to be more suited to the track because they're going to be going around when this track is a little bit drier. So, is anyone actually going quicker? We've got cars out on soft tyres. Latifi's out on the Inter, which is going to bode well for his first lap here. He should go quickest. Should Nicholas Latifi on this Inter, although Robert Schwartzman goes quickest. Can Latifi get there? No, second. Mick Schumacher on pole. That much improved Alfa Romeo for this race. Bottas went out in Q2. But Schumacher, who does have a race win under his belt this season, in a really good position. This rain's going to get really heavy, so whoever goes first, which is the Williams, have got the best chance here. Although we've got a few cars, no, we've got a few out. Daniel Ricciardo is the first car out here. We've got a Haas and the Prema of Robert Schwartzman. These have all got a really good chance of upsetting the order here if they can get around just before this rain gets to its heaviest point. Ricciardo might be able to improve here. Can Ricciardo grab pole position here in Germany? He does. Daniel Ricciardo goes into pole position, but Robert Schwartzman is on for an outstanding lap here for Prema. The rain got too heavy, and it doesn't. No, Schwartzman does grab it. Newgarden sits on the front row here with Schwartzman. I doubt many of these are going to go any quicker. I mean, the rain's not as heavy, but they're going to be finishing. I mean, they haven't even started their flying lap yet, so everyone out on track is not going to be able to go much quicker. They're possibly going to improve on their own times, but they're not going to be able to get towards the front row of the grid as this weather is now pretty much in full wet condition. And Leclerc doesn't improve. Alonso's on for improvement. Hulkenberg's on for a little bit of an improvement, but I don't think he's going to pick up the 5 seconds to get above Russell Hulkenberg. He does. That was an improvement there. A pretty good lap from Hulkenberg. Russell must have set it on when it was fully wet as well. But Schwartzman, Newgarden on the front row of the grid here. The rain throwing up a interesting qualifying session there. And we've got rain to start the race. And now, since it is the race, we can actually look at the radar. And it looks like there is a brief period where the wets might work a little bit more, but we're going to go for the soft because we should be finishing the race on the soft tyre, although it's a long way to go once we get off the Inters. Interesting, but we go with the softs. I don't think we're going to switch on to the wets unless the AI does. I mean, 19 laps out of this. You should be able to see it through. 13 laps. Might be a little bit hard on the softs, although the weather, the temperature's so low, the soft should be able to last here. Yep, so that is definitely what we are going to go with here. We're going to push from the off, but be pretty conservative on these tyres because we do want to see ourselves through until the rain end. But anyway, here is the grid order for the 2022 Germany Grand Prix. Schwartzman, Newgarden on the front row of the grid. Ricciardo, Schumacher start from 3rd and 4th. Latifi in the Williams is followed by Fernando Alonso. Charles Leclerc 7th, Max Verstappen 8th. Nico Hulkenberg 9th, followed by George Russell in the Mercedes is 10th. Yuri Vips is 11th. Valtteri Bottas 12th. Hamilton all the way down in 13th. Gasly down there in 14th and 15th for Vettel. Not a great qualifying session for us. Norris starts from 16th. His teammate is just behind him. Magnussen 18th in a Haas. Stroll 19th in the Aston Martin, followed by his teammate Esteban Ocon. Sergio Perez in the Renault starts from 21st. Giovinazzi 22nd. Tsunoda in 23rd is followed by his teammate Alexander Albon. And I do not know what is up with the times here. What is up with the times for the cars in the bottom 9? I don't know what is up with those times, but anyway, we've got heavy rain coming. It doesn't look like it's going to get as heavy as it did in practice or qualifying, but we do need a good start, a first good lap here, because we are going to turn down and stretch for the rain ending here. Vettel is off to a good start. Gasly's got himself a little bit tied up in traffic, But we're just going to push all out here. The rain's not heavy enough that I would be worried about then crashing out. But you never know. There is a back corner here. Gasly is down to 17th. This last corner just around here is a big lock-up corner, it seemed, in qualifying. We'll just see what happens down here. Is anyone locking up? Is everyone going to survive the first lap without locking up? There's no warnings. Pierre Gasly has collided with Kevin Magnussen. Absolutely brilliant. And he's wrecked his front wing and his rear wing. And he's got a drive-through penalty. I mean, absolutely brilliant. We're going to have to switch to new inters. We're going to have to fix these two parts. 14 seconds to 11 seconds. Should we risk a fast pit stop? It takes 3 seconds off. I mean, we're going to be in such a bad position. We've got a drive-through as well. We're just actually just going to stick Gasly in auto drive. You can just have at it with Gasly for this race. We're going to concentrate on getting Vettel up the order, and meanwhile we're just going to turn down around. Now, we didn't move up as much places as we would have wanted. We've got Magnussen behind us, which is alright for us because Gasly's done us a favour, or done Vettel a favour. He's managed to ram him and break his car, but Vettel is 12th now. We're on to these cars. Just want to take it easy around this last corner. We don't want to lock up and hit other cars. We've got tons of cars locking up here. Absolutely everyone locks up around that corner. We get the run on Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo, but Bottas gets the inside line, manages to make himself stick there, and we're going to cool down for the rest of this lap. The drive-through penalty has now been served. We've done the pit stop. Gasly is in 24th. Only 20 seconds off there. How long was he in the pit lane there? If we have a look at this, it is pit lane time 28 seconds. With that, it's not that long of a pit stop here, is it? I mean, if we take off 8, yes, maybe sub 20 seconds. It's not the longest of pit lanes, but we are still just looking to get these inters through, and Vettel is just falling behind a little bit here. We'll switch him up a tiny bit as we come around. It's Ralph Schumacher. It's Mick Schumacher. Why did I suddenly think of Ralph Schumacher then? It's Mick Schumacher in front of us. Valtteri Bottas, Schumacher falling away. It's Schwartzman still out in front in that Prema though. Absolutely amazing. Just driving in the rain. Absolutely brilliant. And that is a drive-through penalty now served for Pierre Gasly. And he is a long way behind. I mean, he only lost about 8 seconds on the drive-through. I mean, a drive-through penalty isn't as much now since we do 60 miles an hour through the pit lane instead of 40 miles an hour like last season, but it's still not the most ideal condition. I mean, I'm just glad that we had the title sewn up before this race, because, I mean, we're absolutely dreadful here in our home race, aren't we? It's just about stretching. I mean, should we even risk a wet tyre once it gets to the point where the wets would be effective to see how much quicker they'd be? I mean, there is a stretch. Yeah, it's a little bit too close, isn't it? The wets aren't really going to be a factor here, but Vettel is not doing good. Magnussen's finally in to fix his car, and I mean, that is a long pit stop there, and he comes out behind Gasly, who's done a pit stop and served a drive-through. I mean, how long was Magnussen in there? That was an absolutely massive pit stop, 36 seconds. I don't know what he damaged on his car. Was Norris fixing parts? Looks like Norris and Ocon have had a coming together as well at some point during this Grand Prix over that last corner. I mean, this is like Belgium all over again, although not quite as many collisions. But it's just about moving Vettel up into the points. That is the only aim that we have for this Grand Prix, is getting Vettel up into the points. So we might as well go a little bit quicker through this one, because we just need to fight our way forward. I mean, the tyres are cooling down. We might as well push them. I mean, any point from lap 16 we can get off these tyres, so we don't have to worry about these intermediates. And that is Vettel locking up. I mean, that last corner is just shredding everyone's tyre. I mean, that it would be the front, possibly inside right, could be the outside left that is locking up, but these tyres are just going to be shredded, aren't they? I mean, we're down at 50% after 7 laps, so we're going to have to be a little bit careful here, aren't we, with these tyres. We're going to go in backup mode through the last corner, see if that helps. And it does. and then we'll switch up. We've had another collision on the last corner. Giovinazzi, Albon, Sainz. Tons of cars having coming together here. We've got drive-through penalties for more cars. This is definitely Belgium all over again as we start to move back up the order. Albon given a drive-through penalty. Sainz has got a drive-through penalty to serve as well, which is good for us. So as long as we try to avoid locking up, like if we come down here and then we switch into backup mode for this corner, maybe that'll avoid us locking up around that corner, and then we'll turn back up again to come out of that corner. Maybe that is the way to go here. I mean, we're going to get into the points just by sheer luck here of all the other cars hitting each other. I mean, there's still a lot of cars ahead of us that are pretty close together, although possibly not too close that they're going to end up hitting each other, as we now come under pressure from Valtteri Bottas. And Bottas does get past us there. No, that is Lewis Hamilton in front. Is that Bottas behind us? No, Bottas has got damage on his car, as we managed to get past Lewis Hamilton. So as long as we don't push in that last corner, it looks like we're going to do alright. I mean, Gasly might be in a good position to get somewhere back into the top 15. Will be a result for him. And that will be basically down to everyone else. Tsunoda's got a mechanical issue. It looks like he's been hit as well at some point during this race. But as it is, Schwartzman has now got a 5-point gap. I mean, our Prema on for their first Formula 1 win here. I mean, it's been such a crazy season this season. I mean, all the cars are so close together that if you get out in front into clean air, you do have a good chance, unless you somehow mess it up, of going on to win the race. If you can just get your nose ahead from the line, you've got a pretty good chance. Especially in conditions as crazy as this, whereas everyone else is, I mean, Schwartzman probably just locked up less. I mean, because he's got so much of his tyre left over everyone else. I think these inters can go a long way, though. I think it's maybe 5 or 0% before they start to drop off, which is what we're going to look at here. We're going to try to leave it as late as we can, because we want to get onto a dry tyre from here. There's no point coming in for another pair of inters, but we don't want to go too early onto a pair of inters, which is why we're letting our tyre cool down here. We're sitting in 12th. If some of these other cars decide to come in a little bit early, we're going to pick up time, because we'll be on an inter. Yeah, we've got some cars. This track is not quite suited for the dry tyres just yet, but we've got Vips coming in. Is anyone else coming into the pits? We've got Renault diving into the pits. That's Daniel Ricciardo into the pits. Quite a few cars getting onto the medium tyre. I mean, that might not even see you through to the end of the race. I mean, it is a high wear tyre track, which means... is it the low one or the high one? There's not too much difference between the hards and the medium, whereas if it's low tyre wear... No, low tyre wear tracks, there's not as much difference between the mediums and hards. Whereas on a high tyre wear track, there is a little bit more difference between the medium and the hardest compound of the weekend of about 3 laps. But here, there's not much difference, so there's not much point of going onto a hard tyre. I mean, it is a lot slower than that medium. But, there's always a but. We just have to try go another lap here on these tyres. I think we can go another 2 laps even. I mean, we've seen cars start to pit all around us. Perez has gone for a soft tyre. I mean, that's definitely not going to get you through to the end of the race, although it's cool enough. It is cool enough. And I mean, we've just done a good job on these tyres. With 13%, I don't think they're going to go off this lap either. Or maybe it is a 10% job, but if we can get around this lap, maybe if we push it in, and we're going to go for the medium. It's a little bit too early for the soft tyre. I don't think we're going to risk a fast pit stop. It would be 1.4 seconds, 1.8. We will take that. How much slower are we going to be? 10%. What is the crossover point? I don't actually know the cliff condition for these tyres since we went back to the vanilla thing. I knew what they were for from my adjusted database, but it looks like we're still pretty quick here. Are we going to lose time over the second sector? We are. No, we set the quickest second sector, although a lot of this is to do with the rain dropping as well. But we're going to get into the pits. Where are we going to come out? Schwartzman is into the pits as well. We are currently running in second place. We dive into the pits here, and we're going to have to think about getting Gasly off his tyres as well. It's just under the AI control, but not for pit stop, so we'll get him in. But Vettel is in and out inside the top 10 ahead of the Williams of Nico Hulkenberg. Is Hulkenberg going to get the run here? We do have some life in this medium, though. He's on a harder tyre compound as well. Can we go for it here? I mean, it's still wet out on track. Lance Stroll sets the quickest lap of the Grand Prix. We're under pressure from Mick Schumacher in the Prema behind us. Not the Prema, he was in the Prema last season. It's a red car though, but it is an Alfa Romeo. And no, we are not managing to get near Nico Hulkenberg. That Williams is super strong around this track, although they're still not having the best weekend overall. We've got a few cars on inters. A lot of the cars that had those collisions that haven't come into the pits yet. You can see how many cars had collisions. If they're still on an intermediate tyre, I mean, what is Gasly doing to the car? It's 8 seconds. Is he catching? I mean, yeah, Albon's starting to drop off now. So Gasly might be in a decent position here to move back up the order at least a little bit. I mean, he's just under control of the AI. We're going to leave it like that till the end of the race. I don't even want to think about his race at the moment with his collision early on. I mean, a more fickle person possibly would just boot him out of the team, but he's done absolutely brilliant this season, other than in Belgium and this race. I mean, 4th place overall, not that far behind Leclerc and Alonso. We're up into 7th place now. We're still chasing Nico Hulkenberg here. We might as well try recover this fuel. Gasly, everyone's been in 19th place for Pierre Gasly, just running towards the end of the race. Maybe we'll still, I'm not going to stick him on auto pit. We'll still try and keep a little bit of an eye on him. But he is just stuck right at the back here, and it is all on Sebastian Vettel here to the end of the race. Fernando Alonso going quickest here. He's on the soft tyres. I don't think that's going to see him through to the end of the race. Red Bull trying everything here to chase down Robert Schwartzman. The Mercedes have done a really good job of getting right back up the order. Leclerc's running 5th. Hulkenberg in for a decent points finish here in the Williams. And after the start to the race that we had and the rest of how the rest of the race is gone, I would be happy with a 7th place. That would still be a decent result. Doesn't look like the rain is going to come back at all here. Pierre Gasly sets his quickest lap doing a 1:41.9 to the 1:42.1 of Sebastian Vettel, who is just holding place at the moment. Alonso is closing in on Schwartzman, but he's absolutely gone through this soft tyre to get to this position. I mean, he's got no chance of seeing that through to the end of the race, so that Red Bull does have a pit stop to make. So Schwartzman is on for his first win here in a Prema, which is absolutely outstanding, which outstrips the achievement of the win that Mick Schumacher got in an Alfa Romeo early on in the season, because the Alfa Romeo was like the 4th best car at that point. This Prema is like 10th best overall. And just to sit in 1st place and go on to win this race, I mean, Alonso's starting to drop off now. He lost like 7 tenths around a few corners there, did Alonso. This soft tyre's gone off at this point. Hasn't gone over the cliff edge condition, but it is in the latter stages of its life cycle, and it is about to drop off. We've seen George Russell has come into the pits as well. Was Russell on a pair of softs there? Yeah, that soft has not gone a long time at all. 9 laps for George Russell. Norris, is Norris getting more out of it? No, Norris has had he was on another pair of inters after having a collision, so Norris is still up there. Leclerc sets the quickest 2nd sector, but we are right on the back. Where are we? Vettel, Hulkenberg, Vettel, Schumacher. Are we just overtaking? Have we got cars coming to the pits? That's Verstappen into the pits now. I mean, that is strange. Why are you getting off the inters so quickly? I mean, the mediums so quickly. We are underheated at the moment. I think we've got enough tyre in this to see through to the end of the race, so we might as well go in. We've got Hulkenberg. We were just playing a waiting game, trying to save a little bit of this medium tyre till we caught up with him. Looks like we're at that point. We're going to be able to grab 4th place here. Alonso has pitted to get off that soft tyre. He's gone back onto another soft tyre, but obviously he has nowhere near the pace to be able to get up to Schwartzman. Norris does go quickest. Sets the quickest lap of the race. George Russell with 1:40. Norris just a little bit quicker than him. Getting our names all mixed up today. I don't know what it is. The weather's just changed here. I mean, it's really windy and rainy outside after a spell of really hot weather. Maybe that's got something to do with it, but we are running 5th at the moment. It doesn't look like we have the pace at all in this car. I mean, Hulkenberg, when he does decide to push, he's 6/10 quicker than us. So we are just going to make sure we can sit to the end here. Maybe we'll get him on the last lap. He's gone through this hard tyre. Doesn't really need to pit. He shouldn't need to pit. But you never know. Gasly is in 14th place. He's done pretty well to get back up the order. That hard tyre is going to see him through to the end of the race. But we just say that. And Giovinazzi and Ricciardo both get past him. I mean, I don't know what happened to him there, but he lost 2 places around one corner, it seems. And we are getting on the back of Hulkenberg. We won't actually push out of this corner. We'll cool, and then we'll get pushing once we reach that corner. I mean, that Williams is really, really quick here. It's going to be a good 4th place finish for them unless we can spoil the party. And we do get the inside and then the outside. And the Vettel gets past him here. We're just going to turn off full on attack mode just to avoid locking up in that final corner. It seems like most cars have avoided locking up now as everyone's cooling down. It was over this first few laps where everyone was totally pushing. But that is it. We're in a really good position now to finish this race as we come on to the final few laps. Alonso's managed to climb back into 2nd place. He is lapping about 2 seconds quicker than Robert Schwartzman, although the soft tyres are going to go off. And Alonso has been pushing all out. He's started to cool off now. So let's just see what it is like over that lap. Still about 2 seconds quicker. Alonso just totally going for it here. He's still closing in. There's not enough time for him to do anything about it unless Schwartzman's tyres do totally go off here. They are at 20%. I mean, he's got one more lap to go once he starts this last lap. What is Schwartzman's time like? A 1:41.9. Is Alonso still going quick? Alonso does a 1:39.5. I mean, that Red Bull, super quick. I don't know why he wasn't that quick earlier on in the race. But that's soft. He'd get close. But even with a few more laps, that soft tyre would totally go off again. But this medium's just totally shredded, isn't it? And Schwartzman's just gone through that medium. He's managed to make it last here. He's going to come around and finish this race in 1st place. A great win for Schwartzman. He does a 1:41.8. Alonso will come across the line doing a 1:39.2. 2.6 quicker, 2.6 seconds quicker on that last lap. Fernando Alonso couldn't close that gap back down. He tried everything in his power. If they'd have gone for a medium and not done another stop, I mean, Red Bull should have won that race because Alonso is so much quicker than Robert Schwartzman. But we came 4th overall. It's not a bad result considering where we started this race. Not too bad for us. Hulkenberg dropped to 6th overall in the end. Schumacher 8th. Norris gets up into the points as well, which is not bad considering where McLaren started themselves. Although a lot of collisions out on track. Scrutineering. There shouldn't be any risk of rule break because I remove all the AIs. Let's just drive through. I remove all the AI's risky parts. They do like to build risky parts sometimes. I just get rid of the risk for them. Don't want them being knocked down. But look at that. Drive-through penalty. Drive-through penalty. I mean, 7 drive-through penalties in this race. I mean, works out for us in the end with Sebastian Vettel. But Vettel, I mean, he'd already won the Drivers' Championship. He does finish the season 26 points ahead of Fernando Alonso. Charles Leclerc just behind him. George Russell up there in the end. Lewis, a disappointing season for him. Sort of, that Ferrari seemed really strong at the start of the season, but just sort of fell off at the end. Danny Rick got a lot more out of this Renault than we possibly would have expected considering what they did last season. That Renault just can't put stuff together, and then they faded away. Their car quality just dropped. And they did start to climb a little bit, but it sort of evened off. A disappointing season for Max Verstappen as well. Beaten by Lewis last season, beaten by his new teammate George Russell this season. A good season for Joseph Newgarden in the Haas mix up there as well. A lot of those points, he did win a race, more than half his points coming from one race. Schwartzman gets all the way up there, 36 points. 25 points coming from the win that he got here. Vip's a little bit disappointing. Had a really good first race for Red Bull when he swapped over and took over Albon's seat. I mean, Albon wasn't doing much better. That second seat at Red Bull does seem a little bit cursed, but unless he decides to move himself out of there, I don't think I'm going to make any changes to the Red Bull lineup. I mean, Esteban Ocon just disappointing in the Aston Martin. Esteban Ocon right at the back of the order here. But anyway, 77-point gap at the end of the season. Red Bull 143 points back. Renault 5th overall. McLaren have to be disappointed with that as well. They have had the better... It's like being a top 3 car all season. They just haven't been able to put it together. Haas have improved after last season. Alfa Romeo Prema up there. Williams a little bit disappointed. They've got a pretty decent car, just not putting it together as well. And Aston Martin dropped off after last season. I think AlphaTauri finished at the back of the order last season. They do again here, but at least they've picked up points. Reigning Formula 3 champion. Okay, yeah, we'll take it. I mean, it should be Formula 1, but whatever, we'll take it. It is a markability increase, but Vettel is the champion, and that was Brendan Hartley winning a race in Formula 3 there. Sebastian Vettel, the champion. We are the Constructors champions. Absolutely brilliant. But as we look at the bottom here, the worst team, 38, 36, 36. I mean, you can see how close the grid has come together. I mean, if we look at the bottom 6 teams, from 7th place was 36 points, which is last place this time. So there is quite a big jump forward with the teams at the back picking up a lot more points this season. But anyway, we'll just get into the mail. We'll take the interview with Natalie Pinkham, and congratulations on securing the Formula 1 title. What was the secret? And we'll just say that because that keeps absolutely everyone happy. And yes, so we do say that, Formula 3 champion again. If we just have a quick look before we finish here, Ferrari, if we look at Hamilton, I'm guessing, no, he's not considering a move. I mean, Leclerc shouldn't be. No, Leclerc is wanting a move as well. So we might see a lot of drivers jump ship here. I mean, Alonso's still happy. I mean, Max is considering offers. He might choose to just jump outside his contract window. I mean, Ricciardo's actually pretty happy with that Renault team. McLaren, have we got these guys unhappy? Yeah, Sainz is unhappy. Is Norris unhappy? No, Norris is still pretty happy with that as well. Who else have we got? Who else finished further down? No one seemingly out of the order, although Albon might be unhappy though. Not unhappy enough to move. But anyway, that is it. An outstanding season. We won both championships. I'm going to maybe knock up the difficulty level next season another notch. We will be starting the season behind the other cars as well. So it might be a little bit of a struggle at the start of next season. Hopefully we can improve as the season goes on. But you never know. We might have some luck and start the season off like we did this season. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching Season 2. Possibly going to be a day or two break before we get the preview up for Season 3. And then we'll take things from there and see how we do in Season 3 of this series. Also, there might be another video coming up, a new series. Nothing to do with Formula 1, just something I'm considering doing with a game I like to play and the new version coming out. But we'll see whether I can have the time to actually go through it and do that. But until that point, thank you everybody for watching. Season 2 is done. Season 3 coming up. I'll see you down the road then. But until that time, goodbye.